Hello and welcome back, and today I want to talk about something a wee bit different. I have discussed the subject of Wi-Fi extenders and mesh routers and Powerline adapters several times here on the channel, but today I want to talk about this teeny tiny little Wi-Fi extender. This is from a company called Rockspace, and they've sent a sample through. We're going to have a little look at it and we're going to do a quick overview of it on the software level in the next video. But the reason I want to talk about it more than anything, and the reason I sort of asked them, can I please have a sample for a video, was because I wanted to talk about the difference between Powerline adapters and Wi-Fi extenders. I already made a few videos about this before. I think one of my heaviest hit videos, it's in the tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands by now views. It was my video about the difference between them. Now, what is it? Here is a Powerline adapter. This isn't a Wi-Fi Powerline adapter. This is a device that you plug into the wall. The light's quite fierce there, isn't it, on that angle? This is a TP-Link Powerline adapter, and what happens is you plug this into the wall, you connect an Ethernet cable through the bottom of it into your router, and then in another area of your house you have another one of these, and this device is connected to a PC or whatever via the LAN cable, and it effectively allows you to access your network, so your internet connection, if you will, in the home by running it in the power line. So if you look in your house where there's a little circuit board switch, everything's on that one circuit, and therefore as long as you link them both up, there's a little power button there and a little pairing button built into the base, and you connect them up, it allows a device that's very, very far away to access the network and therefore the internet on the router in another area of the house. And it sounds ideal. You can even get ones of these, like I've reviewed before, that have antenna built in, and these antenna allow this to become a wireless access point. So this is connected into a wall, and that can access, it creates a wireless access point, generally no higher than 300 megabits per second, 30 meg, and that wireless access point can be connected to by lots of devices at the other end of the house, and then this communicates with the router at the other end of the house via the circuit in your home. Now, as good as that is, there are some problems for some of us. First and foremost, the idea that when we get hold of these are actually surprisingly expensive. You can get low-cost ones, but generally you have to buy at least two of them, because you need to have one by the router and another one by the other end of the house that needs the internet. So they can work out more expensive overall individually, but when you have to buy them as a set or multiple in the home, it can get confusing, and also it can result in the idea that you're spending lots modularly to upgrade it. And also remember, you're only getting 30 megs each time. The second problem is a lot of homes have more than one circuit. So whether you've put an extension on, or you've upgraded part of your house like a kitchen or a bathroom or the lounge or your home cinema system or something, a lot of the time homes can have more than one circuit breaker, and you have a different circuit for lights, a different circuit for plugs, a different circuit. You can end up with a system whereby, for the sake of safety, you can have more than one circuit in the home, so they're all isolated from each other. The result is that these devices aren't suitable for that. In the same way, you can't just connect it into a multi-plug, like those multiple plugs. Have I got one here? No, I haven't. The minute you introduce one of these into a plug point that's got multiple plug points, it becomes confused and it will not work. And also, sometimes the connection will drop and be lost, and you have to repair. So as good as these are, and I genuinely do like Powerline adapters, hence why I talk about them on the channel, they're not perfect for everyone. And this incredibly long intro is what brings us to this Rockspace device. I'm going to pop that there. The reason being that this does not require the same level of network in place. This has a lot of similarities to a Powerline adapter, but a number of you have mentioned that when looking around, you've been, oh, what about this device? A Wi-Fi extender seems really, really cheap. This is only 30 quid, this device, and if you shop around, and even during Black Friday sales or more, you will find these at 20, maybe even 16, 15 quid if you really, really shop around. Also, you can buy them in groups, but moreover, you don't need more than one. This only requires one device to function. So what is it? A Wi-Fi extender of this kind, so not an entire modem router switched to extender mode, this is a device that plugs into the wall and effectively takes an existing Wi-Fi network and then re-amplifies it. It's designed to live within the scope of your existing wireless connection, but creates a second prompting lifting point. It's somewhere between a mesh and a Powerline adapter, and that's why it's popular. Not popular in the grandiose sense that it's powerful, but popular as an alternative. So on this side we have the Powerline adapter. If we grab that, on this side we have a mesh router, and a mesh router is when, do you know what, check out my other video on that, but basically a mesh router is going to be very similar to this. Mesh router ultimately uses an existing Wi-Fi system and continues to port it around, but in a different way using backhaul. So if we have a look at this device, you're going to get some idea almost immediately about why its architecture is different. So let's take a little look at this device up close. Now there is our Rockspace adapter. It's quite nice, it's quite curvy design there, it's quite unique there. Kind of looks like a little mini humidifier crossed with an air conditioning sort of air purifier. Has two antennae for that Wi-Fi signal, and inside the box we have instructions, and that's your lot. Why? Because it's that simple. You look inside, nothing more, because that's all you need. It has a wireless Lan port on the bottom. It's got RJ45, but it doesn't need it. Now the way this works is like so. So say you've got your router in your home. It doesn't have to be a mesh router, it can just be the router from your internet service provider or ISP. Now let's say in the confines of the house you want your Wi-Fi signal to be accessible over here. Better yet, over here on this laptop. Okay? Sorry if there was a crackle on the mic there while I did that. So you want this Wi-Fi to be picked up at the other end of your home on this Wi-Fi connection to be picked up by this laptop at the other end of the house. But the Wi-Fi signal only gets to here. So the entire scope of signal, getting weaker as it travels, only gets to here. And be it because of walls in between or for any other reason, this laptop can't connect to this. What this does is you have to find somewhere within the scope of this device's range, say here, find an available plug point, and again this is a UK connection, but again they are available in regional connections in the US, EU, Australia, that kind of thing, and then just connect it into the wall, right? Then after that it's got a WPS button. Now the WPS button and the WPS button on the majority of routers means that all you have to do is click the WPS router on the WPS button on the router, like so. Click. It will then look for something in the surrounding area that is triggering WPS security protocol, and then you click that while it's plugged into the wall, and that's it. They will communicate. It will know the login credentials of this router thanks to that, because it doesn't use it because the WPS button is kind of like a graphical GUI less interface with interacting with a router, and then it will mirror the connection. So it will take the connection that it's receptive with, acting like a backhaul with mesh, and then propagate its own Wi-Fi signal. And then this laptop can connect to this wireless router because of this device in the middle, creating a secondary wireless network. Now you can have multiple of these in the home. You can have one downstairs, one in the basement, one on the conservatory, wherever you want it, and these will then communicate with the original router, working very much like a mesh, but in a far less intricately set up way. On top of that, as mentioned, there is a Lan port on the base, and that Lan port will allow you to connect this to a PC device over a LAN, and therefore you can connect this to this device via a LAN cable, and then it will communicate wirelessly with the router. This is helpful if your device does not have wireless capabilities or a Wi-Fi card, or that you want to have wired connection halfway through the house or in the office to this, and then this deals with the internet connection. So you can limit the amount of wires in your user interface, in your operational environment. Now, this supports both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequencies. So if you're running a 2.4 gigahertz frequency, you're going to get that 300 megabits per second connection. That's up to 30 megabytes, give or take a few meg. On top of that, it also supports 5 GHz, and 5 GHz will give you up to 86 or 86.7 megabytes per second transmission. Now, although it's rated as an AC1200 device, that 1200 is in terms of megabits, and it's a kind of a mesh, sort of melding together of both the 2.4 GHz frequency and the 5 GHz frequency. So unless you're using a very particularly sophisticated device that's got 2 Wi-Fi devices and a system of load balancing built in, you're only really going to be using one of those frequencies per device. And each frequency can be shared by multiple devices in that frequency. So do bear that in mind. Now, it has those antennas as well, so it has 360 degree of frequency coverage, up to 1,292 square feet in terms of overall coverage area, but bear in mind that is of course perfectly circular, which means that it's not going to be, the amount of distance you have there is not there to there, it is all the way around. So you're going to have to halve that diameter to get that radius of how much coverage you're going to get with this throughout your home. Now, another reason a lot of people will go for an extender device like this is because unlike mesh devices and unlike Powerline adapters that require 2 or more of these, this is compatible both on its own and with any router. As long as your router utilizes WPS2 and lower, even if you've got WPS3, it's still backwards compatible with WPS2. As long as you've got a WPS router, which pretty much all of them are now, you're compatible. And as long as you've got power points, you're compatible. It's that straightforward. And it's an incredibly easy device to set up for the very first time. So that kind of incredibly low skill level utilization is very, very attractive to some. And the reason it's as cheap as it is because you are still working within the boundaries of your Wi-Fi. What you found with Powerline adapters is you can move way out of your sphere of coverage that you get from your standard router Wi-Fi, and that's the reason for the price difference. But in terms of architecture and build, these devices are incredibly similar with the same general frequencies and overall speed limits, so do bear that in mind. But given its compatibility with any router, its simplicity of setup, and moreover that incredible price point, these are incredibly sophisticated devices. And thank you so much for Rockspace for sending this, because trying to explain this without one in my hand would have been damn tough. And to be frank, I really like this one. I think it's quite cool looking. I'm looking forward to doing the software overview, and we will be doing a performance test of this. That's only fair, isn't it? You want to know if it's any good. But overall, in terms of hardware, in terms of design, in terms of ventilation, because it's got a lovely bit of ventilation built into the sides, all the way around, and that nice LAN adapter there. And it's frankly a very, very straightforward device. Gotta say, I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm kind of digging that. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Do stay tuned for a few more bits of content I'm going to be producing in the next few weeks on the subject of both Powerline adapters and repeaters. We're going to be looking at more desktop repeaters where you can repurpose your router, an old router from an old internet service provider package, and then utilize that in the same form as this. It's going to be nowhere near as simplistic as this, and it's to be nowhere near as easy as this, but it is a budget option that you might want to consider. But thank you so much for watching. Click like if you've enjoyed this video. Click subscribe if you want to learn more about these network devices, and I'll see you next time.